Western Nevada County, and I want to thank all of you so very much from the bottom of my heart for participating in our first constitutional challenge. Thank you. Because I am not the mistress of ceremonies. That is for Lady Bird. But I do want to say the reason we're able to have this tonight is because we have some fantastic sponsors who really support the league. Number one being Diamond, Baker, and Mitchell Law Office. The Gold Miners Inn has also been very helpful and sponsored part of this program as well. So thank you to UBNet and to the union as well for providing us with all sorts of great. So aside from our sponsors, the other reason we can do this is because we may even have more volunteers in the room right now than we have players. I just want to say thank you to all of those volunteers. Could you all just do one big stand up and we can give you a round of applause.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. But there are two people in particular that I really need to point out who have made this evening happen, and that is Joey Jordan back there doing our shrub bar. So we got all of our auction items together and was, just a fabulous mastermind. And then the evening absolutely would not have happened without Fran Cole, or as you will know him tonight as Baker Johnson. So the Shrub Bar, which is a non-alcoholic bar, is in the back there. The Gold Miners Inn bar is right here. I want to really thank both Joey and Amy behind the bars. Tip your bartenders. It's an important part of the evening. And I am going to do one thing that I probably shouldn't do, but I just have to tell you about one event. I'm sorry. But we are able to bring a representative from the 2020 California Citizens Redistricting Commission to Grass Valley, and they're coming on next Saturday at 10:30. I have to put that out to this group of people because if anybody would be interested in that, it would be all of you. So if you have any questions for me, you can find out about the commission. You can find out how to apply to the commission. That's what's really important. So that's happening, and now I'm turning it over to Lady Bird Johnson.
Woo! Woo! Lady Bird!
Good evening, and thank you so much for joining us here tonight for the first ever constitutional challenge. And it will be a little different than your average quiz night, as you will see. I like to do things a little bit differently. I'll tell you, I'll tell you a little bit about the rules, but I'll tell you a little bit about the background. This week, I have immersed myself in the Constitution. Actually, the last month, I'll say. I've been driving around in my car, listening to patriotic music, marching around, pulling up at the stoplights and saluting. I tell you, I don't know if I'll ever be the same again. This is crazy. But it's been a tremendous amount of fun. And I tell you, the League is the perfect organization to do something like this. First of all, we're known for asking questions, aren't we? We have our voter forums. We also are very interested in transparency in government. And in that respect, I'd like to introduce you to Barbara Bush. Where's Barbara Bush? Barbara Bush is right there. She's our league observer. And she'll be looking for rules, violations, and other things. And I'll tell you a little bit about the rules. The rules are, please do not use electronic devices or paper, because that would be cheating. And league security will take you out of the room and put you in the league containment room, and you don't want to go there. So I want to ask, how many of you will admit to having studied for this night? Good job. I can tell you a little story about my own law firm team this week. Hope no one minds, I won't name anyone. But I saw so many examples of people studying. I would go around the office and I'd hear people talk about manifest destiny and the Great Depression. It's like very different. But isn't that wonderful that you can have a trivia night and we educate the electorate at the same time and so lead. It's like wonderful. So one of my partners came up to me, and they were all grilling me all week. I had to again shut my door and peace and quiet and listen to patriotic music on my own. But someone asked me tricky lawyer questions, like they're well-meaning. They weren't asking me the answers, but they would say, well, tell me a little about the categories. And I said, I can't tell you anything about the categories. So then they would say, okay, well, let me ask you a hypothetical. Lawyers love hypotheticals, right? And the hypothetical was, what if we were having this quiz night in England? Would we be asking questions about the House of Commons and the House of Lords? And I was like, I'm not going to answer that. So I gave him a tricky lawyer answer. And I said, well, you have to be prepared for anything. There may be questions about that. But there may also be a question about Meghan Markle's due date, right? We don't want just lawyers to win. If I wanted that, I would be a bar examiner if I only wanted to ask questions of lawyers, right? So what do you think happened? The next day, I see this person in his office reading People magazine. All right, so we're going to begin, and we'll start. We have a couple. It's not just written questions. We'll have a couple like quirky little performances. Some may work, and some don't. But we'll just try them to kind of liven it up a little bit. So we will have a couple live performances. We will have some questions, and then we will have a break followed by a live auction, and then my favorite event, the Team Spirit Award. Yeah. Yeah. How many teams are going to perform? So I know how many.
We are.
All right, so I'd like to start by going around the room. And I'm like, now your team captain, I'll tell you this, needs to be someone that has, you'll understand this later, quick reflexes, all right? Your team captain needs to have a loud, forceful voice and quick reflexes. You'll understand why later. So if each of you have a team captain that fits those qualifications.
She's spread. I'm loud. She's spread.
All right. Please select the person with the fastest reaction time and the last one. It'll all become clear. It'll all become clear later. All right, now I'd like to start by going around the room so we know everyone with a quick team self-introduction. Tell me your team name, why you're here, and anything else you think is relevant. All right, we'll start with team number 1.
Okay, we are the William Barr team.
You don't have to say anything else if that's all you want to say. Just like, rest on your laurels and we'll move on.
This time we have no further comments.
Okay, team number 2.
We are We the People, and we are here to participate with all of you in this very special fundraiser.
That's perfect, right. That's perfect.
We're here
Team
to have
number 3. Team number 3. All right. Look at your numbers. Okay.
Number 3
Tell me
would
that.
be 8-6 because we are the public defenders of the Valley County. 2 ringers that we brought in.
Defenders.
All right, I think that's fine.
Right to
Don't
counsel.
object to that. All right, next team.
We are youth in government, I guess. We're a team of middle schoolers and high schoolers who are part of youth government. And model legislature course, so yeah.
Team number 5.
We are a motley crew and we come from a lot of different backgrounds.
Team number 6.
What is our name?
Find your voice.
You're the MAC team, apparently?
President Obama.
We didn't sit.
No place to sit.
We have President Obama on our team.
Team number 7.
We are the know-nothings, in the spirit of the United States in about 1855 when the Whigs were disappearing and the know-nothings were around. We became the know-nothings.
I like your style. All right. Our last team, team number 8. Who are you?
We are constitutionally challenged. Constituted of friends and strangers. Literally half of us have never met before.
That's nice. Sometimes that's better, isn't it? Anyway, so we'll start. We'll begin now. And our first, so there's some lighter moments in this, and then there's some less light moments. And I kind of, take it back to when our ancestors were coming across on ships from Ireland, many of us, right? So we arrive in Ellis Island, and we enter the holding areas, and we progress through the steps to citizenship, and what is the last step? Anyone know? Citizenship test. And I will blame Pascal from UNet for this. This was her idea. So we're going to start and see how see if you're qualified to do this. Right now, we will pass out the citizen test, and you will have one per table. And you have to move quickly because we only have 10 minutes so you don't chat. 10 minutes, but you haven't started. Don't forget. Don't look at it until all the teams have it, please, for fairness purposes.
Don't want any cheating over here. I'm watching it.
Now the audience can also have. The audience can also participate in this. Okay, we'll make them. We'll give them a try. Yes, they may need more time. All right. Go. The audience is also going. People in the audience are going to make the best can. They'll get prize for the best audience score. Not until 7:25. Don't waste any time.
No, I'm not.
have the privilege. My name is David Parker. I'm Martin Van Buren. We'll let everybody introduce themselves as we go on here. And for you to know that I am the first president born under the Stars and Stripes. So if that's a trivia question, you might get got it already. We're very glad to be here tonight. Actually, this is our 33 years of celebrating the Constitution, Nevada City style. And the Constitution Parade is the only Constitution Parade in America. Can you believe that? I can believe it being in Nevada City that we hold the only Constitution Parade, but I can't believe that America only has one. So will you guys introduce yourselves, fellow one president and first lady and the Secret Service representative?
I'm Abraham Lincoln. I'm the 16th president, and I did have a few words here. But 407 years ago.
Number 16. By the way, Mr. Parker here started this marching presidents group. He's also the mayor of Nevada City. I represent proudly the 41st President of the United States, George H.W. Bush. Where's Barb? There she is, my wife. I'm known as the sock guy in the White House. Thank you for letting us be here.
I am the 54th First Lady, Mamie Eisenhower. I'm Lou Hoover.
I'm the 39th First Lady, Rosalind Carter.
I am Bessie Truman, and I did not ever want to show up in the White House. I was very content with my family at home, but I would show up for important things.
Guess who? Yeah, there are potentially, if you think about me being born in a foreign country, there are two presidents that were born on foreign soil, if I was. Does anybody know who the other one is? I heard it. Was born in Turkey? Who? February?
Deep dive
They had an argument that he was going to get the wrong case.
I'm Secret Service, and I'm watching over everybody, and I'm watching you to protect the presidents and their first ladies tonight. So no problems. All right.
So on behalf of the famous marching presidents, I would like to thank the League of Women Voters of Western Nevada County for inviting us. I wish each and every one of you great success tonight, and we'll be watching you carefully.
Okay, now we're going to do something a little different. We have something, a special game, and it's called Who Am I? So would you pass out the Who Am I sheets? Yes. So those of you who are of a certain age, the high schoolers won't know this. Well, remember the show, What's My Line? How many of you know that show? They don't know exactly what I'm doing. So this was our President Janice's idea. So what we're going to do is have two visitors enter the room. Where are visitors? I think they're hiding. Here they come.
There they are.
All right. And they're going to be sitting in the chairs. Jay? Oh, yeah. I'm passing out the rules now, and I'll read them. Each visitor is a separate round. The team who correctly guesses the status of the visitor, in accordance with these rules, wins the round. Examples of a status are an occupation or a hobby. Old people know this as What's My Line? And I'm an old person, so I can say that. Beginning with the first team, the team captain will ask a yes or no question of our visitor. The next numbered team captain will ask the next yes or no question, and so on around the room. No open-ended questions, they have to be yes or no. When the two full rounds are over, or the first full round is over, we'll go through one more round with each team in the same numbered sequence, asking a yes or no question. You may wonder why there's a glove on your table. There's a reason for that. At any point in time during this exercise, the team captain can make a guess at the visitor's status. by throwing his or her glove on the table and screaming, "Hear ye, hear ye." No, it sounds more forceful if done with a British accent. So I like to do a little practice, all right? I'm going to ask a question, and if you know the answer, throw down your club and yell, "Hear ye, hear ye." All right, here's the question. What do pilgrims and ants have in common? That is not the right response. Throw down your club and say, "Hear ye, hear ye." See, I knew we needed to practice.
Hear ye, hear ye.
Okay, let's everyone, all the team captains do that. When I say, okay, what is the, okay, here's the question, what do you do? That's much better. You have to stand up, you have to stand up. Not this table, that's not effective. All right. If multiple captains throw down their clubs at the same time, as determined by the League Observer. Are you ready, League Observer? A duel by, if she cannot determine who's first, a duel by sword will be called to determine the winner. We are serious at the League about our rules. If a team captain correctly guesses, that team wins. If incorrect, that team is kicked out of the round. Then, that's for 5 points, the winner. And if a team wins, it has the option to guess the visitor's name for 10 bonus points, which is huge. All right? All right. Let's begin with team number 1. And there's no advantage to going first, because everyone just asked the question. So I'll give you a minute to kind of decide what your question will be, and then we'll continue.
Which test is going first?
Oh wait, that is who we're getting. That's a beautiful.
All right. If everyone is ready, let's start with team number 1. Ask your yes or no question of our guest.
Are you living in the 18th, 19th century?
Yes.
Can you stand up? Ask
Am I alive in the 19th century? Yes.
Team number 2.
Are you a first lady?
I am a first lady.
Good question.
Yes.
Team number 3.
Were you occupying the White House when the British burned it down?
Was I occupying the White House when the British burned it down? No.
Next team. Team number 4, where are you?
Oh, I didn't know. Did your last name start through A through F?
Married or married?
Yeah, middle school and high school.
Married or maiden?
Young politicians of America or something.
Married.
My married last name did not start with A through M.
Okay.
M as in moose.
Team number 5, what is your question?
Hilarious.
Number 5.
So, did your last name start?
No. We already know that.
Okay.
Oh. Okay.
Does your last name start N through R?
No, my last name does not start with N through R.
What is your answer?
No.
Sorry. Next team.
First Lady, was your husband a wartime president?
Was my husband a wartime president? Yes.
Which war? Which war?
Next
That'd be the
team.
Civil War, right?
Keep this moving.
American War.
Okay.
No, you're fine.
Okay, we are here ye. Okay.
Are you Mrs. Roosevelt? Theodore Roosevelt?
I am not Mrs. Roosevelt. Mrs. Theodore Roosevelt.
Franklin Roosevelt.
Team number 8 wants to know if you were alive during the 18th century as well as during the 19th century.
Was I alive during the 18th century as well as the 19th century? No.
Back to team number 1.
There's your stuff, huh? Here's two.
Hear ye, hear ye. We believe your status to be a First Lady married to President Zachary Taylor. I'm sorry, President Zachary.
I was not married to President Zachary.
She's good.
Team number 1, what's your next question?
Stand up. Stand up and spit it out.
I was not married to President Taft.
But were you seeing him on the side?
Very easy to see.
Do not answer that. You're fine.
All right. So who's guessed already as Abby's round? Okay, the next table that is not guessed, ask a question, please.
Table 1.
Table 1. That's right, this is table 1. Table 1 seems to be fighting a little bit. I hope they calm down.
Hear ye, hear ye.
We gotta hear you.
I didn't hear you, I'm sorry. Okay, we believe, group number 5 believes you were married to President Truman.
I was not married to President Truman. You are also out. Now, table 1 here.
Table 1, you need a question.
Oh, yeah. Wilson.
I am Mrs. Edith Wilson.
I think you get 5 points. Yeah, because you really guessed what her occupation was, which is First Lady. And then this team gets, which table did you ask as First Lady? Okay, you get 5 points. You get 5 points, and you get 10 points.
I will tell you a little bit about me. I'm the 28th, obviously, First Lady. My husband, his first wife died while he was in office, and saw me walking down the street and went, I want to date that lady. I was an independent lady who my previous husband had died. I ran a jewelry store. The first lady to have a driver's license in Washington, D.C. Picked me up on the street. We used to go canoodling with in the private cars. We used to drive off while he was in the White House. Pretty naughty. I was also the 9th generation descendant, direct descendant of Pocahontas. Or Matiko.
Must have been hot.
Thank you, Edith. Before we go to the next part, I would like to ask our master scorer to publish the results of the citizens test.
I delegate
take that authority to my master escort.
Just go delegate.
Yeah, like my master paper.
Team number 120. Woo! Very good score. Team number 217. Team number 3, also 20. Team number 4, 14. Team number 5, Laundry Crew, 15, 18. The back team number 6, 19. The Know Nothing team, team number 7. 20. Woo! You're off to a wonderful start. And the audience winner.
I guess you get 2 points per question. No, what's
We have 2 audience winners. They have the same scores. Or they didn't stick together, that's fine. Melanie Nadal and Bernadette Sylvester are the winners. Why don't you go up and get your prize now? Everyone know what the prize is? There's our prize. That's our master of prizes, Joey Jordan. The prize goes to Bernadette and Melanie. Congratulations, you get a team next year, okay? Okay. Now we will continue with our second mysterious visitor. This is going to be a little harder. Now that you're warmed up, it should be no problem.
What do you think?
All right, now we'll start with, Team 4, Youth and Government. Ask the question. You can have like a minute to think about what your question will be. Look at her outfit, look at her demeanor. What does she look like she would do? What is her occupation? What is her hobby? Is she a singer? Is she a dancer? Is she a candlestick maker? What does she do? And team number 4, when you are ready, please ask your question.
Okay. Were you ever involved in government?
Was I ever involved in government? Yes. Was I ever involved in government? Yes.
Team number 5, what is your question?
Were you ever involved in the women's suffrage movement?
Was I ever involved in the women's suffrage movement? No.
That was interesting. I don't know what that meant. Team number 6.
Madam First Lady? Madam First Lady?
Was I a first lady?
No, we know you're a first.
No, we don't.
No, we don't.
I am a first.
He's trying to trick you. Oh. Were you known for your own work or who you were married to?
Was I known for my own work or who I was married
Oh, wait,
to?
yes or no? Were you known for your own work?
Was I known for my own work? Yes.
Thank you.
Next team. Team number 6.
Was I a member of Congress? No.
Team number 7.
Were you known for being a seamstress?
Was I known for being a seamstress? No.
Are you sure? Team number 8. Team number 1, then. Back, it's your turn. Team number 1.
Yeah, we got to
Betsy Ross.
one basic activity?
Am I famous for one basic activity? Yes.
Team number 2.
Did I support the underprivileged? Yes.
Hear ye, hear ye. We think you're an abolitionist.
Come on.
That's your status.
That is correct.
5 points.
No, I guess not.
Harriet Beecher Stowe, I already said it, answering the first correct. You did. Answer correctly.
You said it.
Say that again.
So what's the guess?
I asked if she was an abolitionist.
Yes.
The answer was yes, so that's her status.
So
So I get first shot at who she is. I said Harriet Beecher Stowe.
No.
Okay, don't forget your club and your hearing. Stand up, guys, stand up. Guys, stand up. All right.
Stand up, be loud.
Make a statement.
Also no.
What was the question? Harriet Tubman.
I am not Harriet Tubman.
Next table, table number 2. Table number 2, what is your question? Yeah. Table 2.
Or pass.
You can pass, it doesn't hurt. Pass, table 2 passes. Table 3. Table 3. Okay, we have a hint. We're flexible. We're going to give you a hint because this is very hard. No, you get the hint.
The hint would be that while I was an abolitionist, it is not necessarily what I'm most well known for.
Hear ye.
Hear ye, hear ye.
Yes, what is your guess?
Is your name Susan B. Anthony?
No, my name is not Susan B. Anthony.
So we're going to call it, because this one is really hard, we could be here all evening and no one would guess it. So tell us a little bit about yourself, Mr. Guest.
My name is Elizabeth Van Loo, and I was a spy in the Civil War. I did own slaves as a young lady, and when the Civil War broke out, I decided to use my inheritance to purchase slaves, give them papers, and set them free. Among other things, I was the leader of a spy ring in the that took down a lot of the Confederate Army by positioning former slaves in the Confederate White House and passing notes in sewn hems, hollowed out eggs, and loaves of bread. I forgot the most interesting part. I was actually also effectively the first female president. My husband suffered a stroke for a very long time, and I did all the work.
Thank you so much, Mr. Guest. Let's score that one. Everyone ready to score? No 10 points, but we have the first round and then 5 for the second. All right.
Hey, run this for a little bit, would you?
So now we're going to start the regular portion of this event.
Can you see it?
I am going to ask is our
You
esteemed
can touch the screen
visitor,
like that. And it
the
focuses.
notorious
I
RGB,
see you focus.
to come up and ask questions about herself.
Focused on her now.
Justice,
I
are
don't
you
know.
here?
She's at the bar.
Just doing planks somewhere. There is, we're going to work out with her trainer. She'll be right here. She's not sick. She's feeling really well. She's not ill. She's just delayed. Okay? Got it?
Yes.
Body double.
Body double. Thank you for
All right, I'm not doing any planks this evening. All right, wait a second, though, it's 40.
She's a yellow. That orange, yellow shirt. That's the focus point. You touch it.
So please have.
You focus whenever you touch it. You don't really have to focus on her. You can just touch it. If it wanders off, it's fine. You have to focus yourself. She was doing
All right, folks.
She did just like,
You
oh,
have
you're a good
2
boy.
minutes to answer each question.
No, Barbara.
Here we go. I was the second woman appointed to the Supreme Court. Who was the
We're
first?
the strongest on the team. Yeah, that was the first question. So my most notable opinions actually dissent, disagreements with the majority decision. What case I dissent on the recount. Gore versus Bush. I'm sorry. Bush. I spent my career fighting for your rights to vote. Voluntary lawyer. I was also yeah, okay, good. You're up there. Where did I go to? No, I think you're right. Where did I go to law school? When 1996.
I'll repeat the first question.
What is it? Oh, I got it right.
No, that's a different one.
This is the Virginia case, Virginia military, BMI.
They talk about it.
Equal protection. Where's law school?
Well, we all did.
I would do all. You didn't?
We got nothing coming up.
I know.
Okay, what's the name?
I just find it.
What area is
Okay, the question is up on the screen. Okay, does everyone have that? I'm going to move on to the second question. Which president appointed me to the Supreme Court? Which president appointed me to the Supreme Court?
Which one's the winner?
We're on the bottom.
What was the Ledbetter piece?
What's the question?
Oh, Ledbetter. This is Ledbetter versus Nope. Ledbetter is not like some women's rights thing or sexual harassment.
All right, we're going to move on to the next question. Some of my most notable Supreme Court opinions were actually dissents or disagreements from the majority decision. What case did I dissent on that had to do with a recount in Florida in a presidential election?
Yeah, there's something along those lines. Mixing sexual harassment.
But she would dissent. She's dissenting.
I'm going to repeat the question. Some of my most notable Supreme Court opinions were actually dissents or disagreements from the majority decision. What case did I dissent on that had to do with a recount in Florida in a presidential election? There we go.
This is what happens in the Supreme Court.
Yeah, I did.
The next question is, I have spent my career fighting for the rights of women and other marginalized groups. What organization did I represent as a volunteer lawyer? I was also on the board and served as its general counsel.
She was seeking a clerkship like 65 years ago.
Where did I go to law school?
She would have got a clerkship right out of law school. So that would have been.
It's a hard one. Should have more bread. You got an idea? Take a plaque. Flags running. Where? Just kind of
Maybe
When 1996 started, the Virginia Military Institute was the country's last remaining all-male public undergraduate college or university. But by the end of the year, that would no longer be the case, thanks in part to me. The United States filed a suit against the school, arguing that the gender-exclusive admissions policy violated what?
You know, maybe it was 8 quarters. That would have been around that time.
That's really cool.
Right? He was only on the court of 2 years. It was like LGBT. Possibly.
I have been an officiant of same-sex weddings and a promoter of LGBTQ rights. What famous case did I hear that allowed same-sex marriages?
90 is
In the 2007 Ledbetter versus Goodyear tire case, I cast another dissenting opinion. What was at issue in that case?
the LBGTQ same-sex. Yes. It's over. Over or over?
What was the name of the Supreme Court justice who rejected me for a clerkship due to my gender?
You take whatever you get.
Okay, the last question. How old am I? How old am I? Please turn your sheets into your famous marching president and we'll march it up to the score. Was Bush v. Gore. The organization she represented as a volunteer lawyer was the American Civil Liberties Union. She went to law school at Harvard and Columbia. I'm going to be generous and say both are wrong. Either one. Is that wrong? All right. Half a point for one, a full point for both. Is that fair? Yeah. We're learning as we go along. This is the first year we've done this, so feedback is always welcome. The VMI, gender exclusive admissions policy, violated either the 14th Amendment or the Equal Protection Clause. Both were violated. The Ledbetter case dealt with equal pay for women. The Supreme Court justice who rejected her, I have an attitude about this one, for a clerkship was Felix Frankfurter. And Justice Ginsburg is a spry 86 years old. All right, scores, get to work, and now we'll start the next section, which is the Constitution and amendments. So hopefully you've all been studying your Constitution. I will tell you, we have a special gift Constitution for you as you leave the room tonight. But I would like to ask First Lady Barbara Bush to ask these questions. Let's give it up for Barbara.
The first one is Article 4, Section 2.
So now, what are we doing now? Constitution. I know now. Amendments.
It's 13.
Okay, the first question is, Article 4, Section 2 provides that the citizens of each state are entitled to the privileges and and immunities of citizens in the several states. It used to also provide that no person held in service or labor who escaped to another state could escape their service and shall be delivered up to the party to whom the service is due. Which amendment effectively repeated this provision?
93. I didn't drink back then.
So let's. I'm thinking about it. He's gonna feel the federal judges. The judges can then help us practice.
The second question.
Oh, Justice.
The authority of the Supreme Court to interpret and apply the Constitution and laws is not expressly stated in the Constitution. A decision written by Chief Justice John Marshall in 1803 on a writ of unanimous established the power of judicial review, and that the Constitution was the law subject to review and enforcement. What is the name of the case?
Replace the other one? Replace 10. What is it?
2 years after 1979.
Okay, the third question. Why did the court deny the writ?
I think it's suggesting a year or two or about 5 or 6 years.
Two separate amendments were ratified. Two separate amendments were ratified.
Question number 4. Article 1, Section 2 gives the whole House the sole power of impeachment. Article 1, Section 3 gives the Senate the sole power to try cases of impeachment and requires concurrence of 2/3 of the senators to convict. Article 2, Section 4 says those powers apply to the President and Vice President and to what other person.
So 13 and 14.
There are two separate amendments ratified for a total of 4 amendments.
That's how I read it. Doesn't seem to make a
Doesn't
What about like federal income tax?
Question 5. Article 5 sets requirements for amendments of the Constitution. An amendment may be proposed by a two-thirds vote of both houses, or when two-thirds of the states propose a convention for amendments. An amendment is adopted when ratified by three-quarters of the states, by legislature or convention. The first 10 amendments were ratified on December 15, 1791. Only 17 more have been adopted to this day, making this a rare event. But there were 2 years after 1791 where 2 separate amendments were ratified. What were the numbers of these amendments?
We're confused by that question. Hello? First Lady Bush, we're confused by this question.
I'm sorry, so thank you.
Yeah, we're confused. Can we get some help?
Can you explain the question?
Yeah, please explain.
This is a hard one. The question asks, what were the 4 amendments that were ratified 2 at a time?
Oh, that's what it is.
So it's just ever so confused.
So what we need are the numbers of the 4 amendments. These are hard.
Who would have to approve the situation of the state of Jefferson?
No, you shouldn't answer that one. I heard it in radio interview.
Number 6, given the process of proposing and approving amendments, many have languished for years between proposal and ratification. But the 27th Amendment ratified on May 7, 1992 set the record for the longest time between Congress submitting to the states and winning approval of the required three-quarters. When was it submitted to the states?
I told them like I have to go to an event. I'm outside. I know it's a 17. Have you got a better opinion yet?
That works for me. We still are working on
It's going to take nobody else. It's a fun question.
Number 7. Article 4, Section 3 provides that Congress may approve the admission of new states into the Union. But there are special requirements if the new state was proposed within the boundary of an existing state. Who would have to approve the creation of the state of Jefferson?
No, I don't hear that it has to be approved by the existing state and by Congress. Whereas annexed a new territory, there is no existing state.
So the state wouldn't have any.
So and Oregon is there.
Yeah, that's pretty
Was it to the tune of men or to celebrate their new power and influence? Question number 8, place the correct chronological sequence. Prohibition, its repeal, or
I think Bush is folding when it's going down. She's screaming with a butt and go home.
The ninth and final question. One day the President of the U.S. begins to spout total nonsense. Is this a medical emergency or just politics as usual? To strip a President of his powers and duties for inability, please circle the correct groups authorized by the 25th Amendment to remove him. You have 4 choices: the Surgeon General and the Cabinet, the Surgeon General and the Supreme Court, the Vice President and the Cabinet, or the entire Congress.
You just said like the mission was improperly granted or something like that.
That was rationale.
Where's the Surgeon General involved? Isn't he a health guy?
Yeah, it has to do with the...
All right, that's it for this category. Please turn your sheets in to your famous Sergeant President and deliver it to the school.
Maybe the Surgeon General and the Supreme Court? No, Surgeon General and the Cabinet.
I don't think there is a Surgeon General Supreme Court. Or is it and the Supreme Court?
That's for me. That was for me, you know. I'll do it. You knew it.
4, Section 2 provides the citizens of the state are entitled to the privileges and immunities of citizens of several states. Which amendment effectively repealed this provision? It was the 13th Amendment. And that was actually an answer I gave on KNCO, so those of you that listen would The name of the case, which applied, which allowed the Supreme Court to interpret and apply the Constitution with the decision written by Chief Justice John Marshall in 1803, was Marbury versus Madison. Lawyers probably did well on that.
How would you know that?
Why did the court deny the writ? The law was unconstitutional. Article 1, Section 2 gives the House the sole power of impeachment. What other persons other than the President and Vice Presidents does this apply to? All civil officers of the United States. Whatever that means. Right. Civil officers of the United States. And the uncivil ones too.
What does that even mean?
Let's see, okay, the 2 amendments, the 2 years where 2 separate amendments were ratified. Number of those amendments were 16, 17, 20, and 21. That was hard. I know that was hard. But we have to have hard ones, right? The longest time between Congress submitting to the states and winning approval, the longest time was 1789, which was submitted with the first 10 amendments. Who approves the state of Jefferson? This is for you. Who approves it? The legislature of California and Congress. The chronological sequence of prohibition and women's suffrage was prohibition, women's suffrage, and prohibition's repeal. Who can authorize removal from the
Here we go.
president
Here's what I want to do.
under the 25th Amendment, C and D? D, if the president declares that no inability exists.
That's exactly the question.
Crazy.
Especially since the mayor is disabled.
Surgeon General has nothing to do with it. Right?
All right, have a point if you get one. I want this to be fun. Okay.
Flower dress? Huh?
Okay, I'll go on to our next category.
No, short hair, short goatee, brown, long hair.
We are the League of Women Voters, so of course we have to have a category called
I guess.
voting.
Oh,
And
take
this,
that down. Guess your age or what?
I'm 63. 39. I'm 63.
And looking damn fine, too.
All right, let's go to voting. The Supreme Court decided Shelby County versus Holder in 2013. Shelby County, Alabama challenged the constitutionality of Section 4 and 5 of the Voting Rights Act of 1965.
Wait, you're not having fun?
The Supreme Court found that Section 4B of the Act was unconstitutional because it was based on a formula that used 40-year-old facts that had no logical
Drop them over
relation
the
to the
fence
present
or
day.
open the gate, put them in.
Congress could have updated the coverage formula when it extended the act, but did not do so. And its failure to act left the court with no choice but to declare 4B unconstitutional. Section 4B gave which official the power to control state registration and election procedures which discriminated by race.
Which official to control state registration?
Oh, that's
No, it's not
Question 21. Tracking, packing, and homogenization are tactics for what?
Tracking,
Tracking, packing, and homogenization are tactics for what? Sounds vaguely risque, but it's really not.
I guess you could just say.
That's the answer we're looking for. We go too deep into that. They want the vanilla
I think they're right.
Question 22, I'm trying to keep it moving. This is a very long question, but I left it in because I found it really interesting, but I won't read the whole thing. So the question is, Grover Cleveland was running for re-election against Republican Benjamin Harrison. A fabulously indiscreet circular, I love whoever wrote that, on Republican National Committee stationery instructed local leaders to divide the floaters into blocks of 5 and put a trusted man with necessary funds in charge, being sure to make it responsible that none get away and all vote our ticket. Voter fraud.
What was his home state?
What was Harrison's home state, where the massive fraud helped give him the electoral votes in the presidency, despite Cleveland winning the popular vote?
So this is another.
That's fine, no problem. No, baby, no.
Question 23. Moving it up. Who was the only president to have served both as president and vice president without having been voted into either office.
Really? That's funny. Yeah, you're right.
And the last question in voting, what president was the youngest person ever to be elected to that office?
Pritzker, JB, governor. And I grew up with Chris Kennedy, too, so running against him. Who'd you go with? Pritzker.
Okay, we'll move on, and I would like to ask the scorers of the results for Constitution and amendments. I would like to ask the scorers to post the results for Constitutions and amendments. Please, scores, let me know when you have all the sheets returned.
Thank you for inviting me.
Hey, you got us to where you got us. Thank you. Nice to meet
Okay, do we have all of them? Do we have all the results? And I shortly will announce the team standings. All right. So we'll know who's ahead and who's behind, because isn't that what this is all about? It's a competition about prizes. Okay. I'd like to get the team standings for those of you that are interested. In first place, currently, is team number 1, William Barr, with 42 points. In second place, team number 7, the Know Nothings, with 35.5. In third place, oh wait, excuse me. I'm sorry. Team number 8 was next with 37 points. Followed by the Know Nothings with 35.5. In next place, 8-6, 33. Motley Crue, 32.5. Youth in Government, 19.5. But you have many years to catch up. All right. So let me give you the answers to voting. Section 4B gave which official the power to control registration and election procedures? The Attorney General.
It's okay to walk in.
Fracking, packing, and homogenization are tactics for gerrymandering. Benjamin Harrison was from Indiana, my home state. Hoosier. without having been voted into either office? Gerald Ford. And the youngest president ever? Theodore Roosevelt. All right, please hand out the next sheet for scandals. Our next category is scandals. It'll be really fun. And some of the information you have received earlier this evening may help you with this category. That's a huge hint. And this will be the last category for the evening. We have more, but I don't think we'll get to them. Brains are probably quite tired. Would anyone like to buy a copy of the Constitution that I have here tonight? This is a fundraiser after all. Just kidding. Not for sale.
But his first wife
Scandals. And there are quite a few. All right, does everyone have their sheets? Okay. Scandal question number 25. What 20th century president was rumored to have murdered his first wife in order to marry his second one? Rumored. Question number 26. What president inspired this chant? Ma, ma, where's my paw? Off to the White House, ha, ha, ha. Question number 27. Who was the first sitting cabinet member to be imprisoned? It's a hard one.
Okay, I'm in charge. Yeah, he was defensive. Because when you got shot, I'm in charge. So maybe that came out.
Who was the first sitting cabinet member to be imprisoned? I want to know that.
Question number 28. Whose administration was plagued by the Credit Mobilier scandal? Question 29. What Secretary of Defense was indicted in the Iran-Contra scandal? Scandal.
This was really hard. 30 seconds to pop.
Question number 30. What was the name of the abolitionist senator who was beaten unconscious with a cane on the floor of the House of Representatives? That could happen today. Abolitionist senator beaten unconscious.
This is a made-up scandal. He did? Do you think it's, did he have a dancer? And that's his sugar? Getting run by the drug dealers.
Question number 31.
30 seconds.
What CIA director was convicted of misleading Congress concerning assassination attempts in Cuba?
One of these was made.
My, aren't there a lot of scandals?
30 seconds to pop.
What is the petticoat effect?
There need to be a timer.
There's one of them, sure. There is one of these. I don't know. Joey, we need you here. You're getting tougher. Tougher.
Question number 32. What Supreme Court justice resigned when he was discovered to be a paid consultant to a convicted criminal? A lot of bad stuff happened.
Let's just write funny answers. Not to these. These are way. Why don't we just do all of them? Trump. Well, if we don't have, if we can't answer, let's just be appropriate. All right, so.
Question number 33. What was the sugar scandal? A scandal alleging a bribe of a Louisiana congressman? A scandal involving a bribe by a Colombian drug dealer to an FDA commissioner? A scandal involving a dancer and President Grover Cleveland? Or this is a made-up scandal name?
So which one are we guessing? And then the other one here, basically, we did some analysis.
Yeah, she did say.
We don't have any. We have some Trump and Obama can answer
Question number 34. What was the petticoat affair? A scandal alleging an extramarital affair by the wife of a cabinet secretary. A scandal alleging an affair by Eleanor Roosevelt. A scandal alleging an affair by President Andrew Jackson. Or this is a made-up scandal name.
That's what we did tonight. That's why we were. Let's go.
And the last question of the evening. And in this question, you can get up to 5 points if you can name all of the U.S. senators in the Keating Five. Big points.
That's good.
While we're waiting, I would like to ask the scores to post the results for the voting category. They are ready. and then perhaps give me a tally sheet before we tally the final category of the evening, which will determine who is the winner and receives the wonderful prizes we have for you tonight. Eating 5, who were they? 5 points, don't blow it, this is your chance. 5 names, 5 senators.
If you can name the committee. I said eat them all. Right on, I love that. That's a great interaction. Thank you. They don't go together.
Okay. Please hand in your sheets to your famous marching president representative who will deliver to the scores. We are near the end of this competition. And we are getting a tally pending the results. After this, we'll take a break, and then we'll have a silent auction, and then our team spirit performance. And I would like to ask the famous marching presidents, famous marching presidents, famous marching presidents, famous marching presidents, hello? They're so busy with their jobs, dedication. So, what makes sense is for, we'll get to the Team Spirit Award, but it only makes sense for the Team Spirit Award to be decided by the famous marching presidents, because that is what they're all about, right?
Spirit.
The Team Spirit Award can be anything. Obviously those that perform have an edge, but perhaps some of the other teams have demonstrated some particular characteristic and quality that has really appealed to the judges.
We better leave now.
Anyone can. So, our preliminary tally before the final scandal round is, in first place, still, the William Barr team with 46 points. In second place, Constitutionally Challenged with 40. No Nothings with 37.5. Motley Crue, 35.5. Excuse me, 8-6 with 36. Motley Crue with 35.5. Mac with 33, and Youth in Government with 19.5. All right.
We can do better. We can do worse.
So right now, we're going to take a break, and then we'll come back for the live auction. I just want to tell you how important tonight is for our local league. Many of you know this. I've been talking about it when I'm on the radio, but of the 60, I encourage all of you to join the League of Win Voters, and we can do that for you tonight. It's a wonderful organization. We provide programs and forums. There's really no one like us that does this in a nonpartisan way, and I think we really fulfill a valuable role in our community. Of the $16 dues that people pay to join the league, $0 goes to the local league. It all goes to the state and federal. So if you believe in the league, what we're doing, if you had fun tonight, please donate to the league and bid in our silent auction, because your doing that will enable us to continue the programs and the forums that we provide currently. So let's go on a break, and we'll come back and find out the winner. 10 minutes. I hope you enjoyed the Constitutional Challenge. We had a great time, so much fun preparing it, and I think that the teams had a good time. We're getting ready for the silent auction, but it was a wonderful evening. We're going to do it next year. I hope everyone learned a lot. I know that I did.